Welcome to the Red Pill for Women. Escape the alternative health matrix. Today, we are diving into the Roseto study, and this is all going to be about the Roseto effect, the longevity study they've been hiding from you. Now, today, I'm going to share a study that completely changed my life. And in this study, you are going to learn that everything we've been taught by alternative health and wellness is incorrect. And I'm going to be teaching you what to do to actually get your body to heal and self-repair and how to be in the driver's seat of your health and longevity for the rest of your life. Now, I'm talking about this today because I used to be someone who was incredibly sick. I had 8 autoimmune diseases. I had a host of chronic illness as well, depression, anxiety, and I was doing everything my alternative health and wellness practitioners were telling me to do that they said was healthy. I was exercising, I was eating very clean and restrictive diets, I was meditating, I was doing yoga, I was taking supplements, and yet year after year, I got more ill, my body continued to break down, and it didn't make any sense. Why was it that I was doing everything that was supposed to be healthy, and yet I was getting very, very sick? So 8 years completely healthy, I actually learned how to do what I'll be sharing with you, the study that they've been hiding from you. And I want you to know that this, what I'm going to share with you today, is a health paradigm shift that will transform your health and well-being just like it has mine. And so let's get into this study. This study that they don't want you to know, they've buried it, and it's called the Roseto Study. Now, in the 1950s, in a small eastern Pennsylvania town called Rosetto, there lived a community of Italian immigrants. It was just Italian immigrants actually from a small town in Italy called Rosetto. And this incredible thing happened that the doctors in the nearby towns started to notice that something was going on in this town of Rosetto. The people in the town of Rosetto were living incredibly long lives. They had almost non-existent heart disease, no alcoholism, no crime, very little stress, and they didn't understand why. Because compared to the other neighboring towns in eastern Pennsylvania, these other towns had 3 times as much heart disease, and their health reflected the rest of America. So something incredible, something almost magical was going on in this town of Rosetto for health, and researchers wanted to find out what it was. And so the researchers from the University of Oklahoma descended on this small town of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, to figure out what their key and their secret was. Now, of course, being researchers, they were thinking the obvious things, right? Thinking it must be maybe their diet. They were Italian, so maybe it was the foods that they were eating. Possibly it was their genetics. Being Italian, maybe there was something in there that was preventing them from getting heart disease and allowing them to live very long lives. And maybe it was their environment, something in the soil or something in the water that they were drinking. And so they went in and did a lot of studies and research. And what they found really blew their mind. And this is really important because what they found about the residents of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, defied everything that we know and think about what healthy is, right? So they thought, well, maybe it was their environment. But no, listen to this. The men of Rosetto, they worked in slate quarry mines, breathing in toxic dust and fumes and gas every single day, right? So it wasn't their environment that was keeping them healthy. So they thought maybe it was the food. And I love this. They went in and they realized that the residents of Rosetto primarily ate meatballs made of red meat fried in pork fat. That's right. Red meat and pork fat fried meatballs, huge amounts of pasta, bread, salami, and cheese. In reading about their diet, I didn't even see one vegetable mentioned. In addition to that, they were drinking copious amounts of wine, aka alcohol, right? I read one thing where they said they drank more wine than water. And if that's not enough to learn about these incredibly healthy people's diet, they also like to enjoy the occasional cigar, which was unfiltered. So that's straight tobacco going into the lungs. So even here, we just take a pause. They were working in slate quarries. They were eating gluten, red meat, animal fat, drinking lots of alcohol, and smoking unfiltered cigars. And yet they were almost immune to heart disease and other health issues. But it gets even better. Well, maybe it's their exercise. Nope, the residents of Rosetto, they didn't exercise. They had no exercise routine. And they also were found to be primarily overweight, and some people were actually obese. And yet they still were almost immune to heart disease, and they were still incredibly healthy, living long lives. And then they thought maybe it was their genetics, but they found it wasn't their genetics either. They studied other people from the town of Rosetto that had moved to other parts of the United States, and the people who had moved out of Rosetto had the same kind of health and heart disease risks and health problems as the rest of the United States. So it wasn't their genetics and it wasn't the area of Rosetto. So what was it? These researchers were absolutely baffled. Everything they thought that was causing these people to be almost immune to the heart disease and other health issues of the rest of America went out the window. And so they lived with these people. They literally lived with these people for a number of months, and they found the answer. And it was the least likely thing that they could ever suspect. I want you to listen to this. This is really important. They found that the reason that these residents of Rosetto, Pennsylvania were healthy, were living long lives, were not experiencing heart disease like the rest of the United States, were not experiencing alcoholism, were not experiencing stress and depression like the rest of the US, was because of their close-knit community. They call it emotional safety, right? An experience from within. What they found when they observed the actual structure of this town is that everybody in this town, again, all Italian immigrants coming from Rosetto, Italy, all took care of each other. That the residents of Rosetto knew that they always had someone that would have their back, that they never had to worry if they were going to go hungry or that they were going to go out on the street or that they were going to lose their job, because they knew that they had the support and the love and the care of the community, and the community held each other together. It was incredibly tight knit. There was about 3 generations living in one household. The elders had a very strong place in this community, and they had events all the time, potlucks, clubs, organizations, and these events were really well attended. That this really incredible, strong, close-knit sense of community created emotional safety for these residents. And it was the emotional safety, not the foods, not the genetics, not the environment, because everything they were doing was actually what they would say would be unhealthy. That didn't matter. It was their emotional safety created by the community that allowed them to be healthy. And it's incredible. It blew away everything that researchers had thought. This became a 50-year study, one of the longest and most detailed studies for heart disease. And the researchers had a theory. They felt, because again, this was in 1961, they started this study. They thought that as Rosetto, Pennsylvania became more Americanized, as people moved out, as people moved into single family homes, as people started to get fences around their house, they theorized that as the community broke apart over the years, that they thought the health of people of Rosetto would likely reflect that of the rest of America. And they were true. Through the 1970s and by the late 1970s, they became Americanized. And over time, that special town of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, started to look just like all the neighboring towns in the rest of the United States. It lost its fountain of youth. It lost its protection, again, from health conditions and heart disease, because the emotional safety broke down. Now, I have a really great video about this from PBS. I'm going to include it in the link below. I also have a really great article that talks more about this study. I'm going to include it below. But we have to break this study apart because, again, we're told by our health and wellness practitioners that it is our diet, that it is our genetics, that it is our environment, that it is, where we live. It is toxins that either create our health or break our health down. And there is nothing else besides that. It's unquestionable in our society. And what we can take away from this study, and this is why they've been burying this study, is that everything that alternative health and wellness has been telling us as humans to do, that they say keep us healthy or cause us conditions like heart disease, is not true. That we've actually been brainwashed. We've actually been lied to. And I want to define what alternative health and wellness is. Now, alternative health and wellness is your chiropractors. They're your therapist or psychologist. That's Eastern medicine. That's functional medicine. That's naturopath. That is your nutritionists. That is Ayurvedic medicine. That's yoga, meditation, etc. And again, what the Roseto study is telling us, and this is really, really important. This is what I needed to learn to heal. The body is not the problem. Again, our body is not the problem. Our health actually comes from our emotional state internally. It comes from us. That is that emotional safety, that close-knit community of Rosetto created for its residents, which is why they remain incredibly healthy, despite, again, eating meatballs, bacon fat, lard, wine, cigars, working in slate quarries, being overweight, that they were still healthy because they had emotional safety. Definitively, the body is not the problem. And so what we can take from this too is that chronic illness and disease, examples of chronic illness and disease are things like heart disease, chronic pain, migraines, Hashimoto's, IBS, fibromyalgia, MS, conditions that are chronic. These conditions are actually coming from our lack of emotional safety within. They are actually coming from our emotional state. It has nothing to do with the foods or the supplements or the diet or the exercise, the environment, or the toxins. And think about that is groundbreaking. And right now, I want you to know, if you have a chronic illness or autoimmune disease like I used to have, I have a free 101 course on autoimmune disease and chronic illness. You're going to learn what your doctors aren't telling you and the actual path to heal and self-repair that incorporates what we're learning today in this Roseto study. Link in the description below. Now, you might be like me wondering, okay, so if it isn't everything I've been told by alternative health and wellness, and I've actually been lied to, what is going on? Why don't people know about this? Why are we being taught that it's the foods, for instance? And why are we not being taught that it's actually our emotional state, our emotional safety? It has to do with a concept called the matrix. Now, what we know is that it's our emotional state. So when I resolve my emotional state, I can resolve my chronic illness and disease. If I have a supportive, emotionally safe experience on the inside, I know how to stay healthy and maintain that health for the rest of my life. That's what the Roseto study is showing us. The reason that we haven't known this up until now is because of a concept called the matrix. Alternative health and wellness is a matrix that we as humans have been trapped in since the beginning of mankind. If we go back in time to our earliest days, there's never been a point in our history as humans that we've ever even known that we have the power within us to create our health, like the Roseto study, or break down and destroy our health, knowing that it actually solely comes from us in our emotional state. We have always been brainwashed by this matrix, being told that we need something done to us, to our bodies, that there is a healer or a practitioner or a doctor that knows better than us and that can heal us, that we need to work on our body. That is all false. We are the ones in control of our health and our emotional state. It always has been us. And the reason they don't want us to know that is because they don't want us to be empowered. Now, let's talk about what a matrix is. Now, a matrix is an interwoven ideology that is believed and seems to be true, seems to be reality, but is actually not based in any truth and is not actually line up with our lived experience. So, the matrix of alternative health and wellness, right, tells us a reality that the body is the problem. We have to work on the body with things like exercise and supplements and foods. And it makes logical sense, but it's not actually the truth of our human experience and our lived experience. Like me, for instance, I'm the one who was doing all of these supplements and these food diets, and I was still really sick, and I could not see that. But again, the matrix doesn't want us to, because it doesn't want us to connect to and be empowered in our sovereign right as individuals and the power we have to heal ourselves. The power that we have within to, again, we're so powerful that we actually create our health and we destroy our health. And when we know that our health comes from within us, then we can be in charge of our health from here to the rest of our life. And we can take back our power from all of the alternative health practitioners that we have given it away to. Again, the matrix doesn't want us to know that. They want us to falsely believe that it's the foods, the supplements, the diets, the environment, the genetics, that the body is the problem. And so we're leading into an awakening here. This is an awakening. And the awakening is this. The awakening is to see how powerful I am as an individual to have control over my health. That we as individual humans have control over our health, and we always have. We've never known that, though, because of the matrix. And so this leads to a paradigm shift. This is really important. A paradigm shift is a situation in which the usual and accepted way of doing or thinking about something completely changes. Again, a situation in which the usual and accepted way of thinking or doing something completely changes. This is a complete paradigm shift of our health and our understanding that our health has nothing to do with out here. It's not having to do with our body. The Roseto study definitively confirms it's actually all us and our emotional state. So some other examples of paradigm shifts so that you can understand this is us as humans going from thinking that the world was flat to then the awareness that the world is round. Or also, we used to believe that the earth was fixed and the sun and the rest of the planets in our solar system rotated around the earth. Then we discovered that actually, no, it's the sun that's fixed. The earth and the rest of the planets in our solar system actually rotate around the sun. Again, a complete paradigm shift. This is a paradigm shift, again, that we have complete control over our health and our well-being and our healing. And so again, the paradigm shift, health and healing come from within me. Health and healing come from within me. And so therefore, this is important, no one and no thing can heal me. Healing is an internal experience that I am in control of. Healing is an internal experience that I'm in control of. No one and no thing can heal me. I want you to take a second and let that sink in. This is a profound paradigm shift that changes everything we as humans have been ingrained and taught. Understanding this and really letting this sink in for you is what will break you out of the matrix you've been in. This is what I had to do to realize that actually your healing is, has, and always will come from within you. It is completely separate from out here, and your body does not create your health. It is our emotional state. When we realize that we solely hold the power of our health in our hands, then we can heal, right? This, up until now, we have never been introduced to this idea in the history of mankind. We have never known as humans our inherent ability to heal. I want you to know this is, for me, was the most empowering paradigm shift that I could have ever experienced in my life. And it is why I am 8 years completely healthy of all my autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses, because I was able to unlock the healing from within my emotional state. I created emotional safety within, and now I am healthy. And I'm going to talk with you in a moment about how to do that. But before we go into why has the matrix of alternative health and wellness trapped us for so many years? What is it about us as humans? I want you to know that if you are getting value from this video, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this paradigm shift with any of your loved ones who are stuck and trapped right now in the alternative health and wellness matrix like I was. There is a way out, and we have to break through and realize that it's us, and to empower our healing from within. And so let's go into what is it that the matrix is exploiting in us as humans, because it is this human flaw that is actually the reason why I and all out there had been trapped in going around in circles, doing the diets, thinking it's the foods, trying the supplements, things aren't working, thinking it might be the yoga, thinking it could be genetics. Why are we so susceptible to what the alternative health and wellness matrix is feeding us? What's going on? Well, it's because as humans, we don't actually want to take responsibility for our health. I'm going to say it again, we don't want to take responsibility for our health. We want to be victims. That's our inherent nature, is to blame others for why our health is the way that it is. That was my experience. I didn't want to see that all my autoimmune diseases and my chronic illnesses was because of me and my unhealthy emotional state. I wanted to think, I liked the idea that alternative health and wellness matrix proposed that it was my genetics and foods and toxins and things out of my control. Because as humans, there are two camps that we can live in. We can either live in camp wanting to be taken care of, which is our kind of default camp, especially as women. Again, camp being taken care of, or camp taking responsibility. And it is our human flaw that we, especially as women, want to live in camp being taken care of, that of course we're going to be as susceptible to what the alternative health and wellness matrix is telling us. So what I had to realize for myself, and this is a piece of humble pie for me, is that when I was honest, the real reason that I was choosing alternative health and wellness is because I knew it wouldn't work. I knew that these tinctures and herbs and supplements and acupuncture and chiropractic work and massage therapy and seeing my therapist every week, I knew it didn't work, and I knew it wouldn't work. And I kept doing it because, again, I didn't want to take responsibility for my health. That was my human flaw. I didn't want to know that I was creating, my emotional state was actually creating all of my illnesses and diseases. And so this leads to a really important awareness that I need you to know. Alternative health does not work. Alternative health will never work. And alternative health is a scam. It's a scam. Doesn't work, will never work. It's a scam. It's true for all of us. All of us. You need to hear that. We all need to know that. Because I want you to take a pause right now and think back to a time for yourself or someone that you know who's had a chronic, ongoing illness or condition, a time that you went to an alternative health and wellness practitioner, let's say a psychologist, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a functional medicine doctor, for instance, that you went to one of these practitioners with a chronic illness and you completely and permanently resolved said condition. When has that happened? When I reflect back on my experience, it never happened. And it hasn't for you either. And here's the thing, the fascinating thing. Why is it that when it doesn't work, we, instead of saying it doesn't work and trying to find something else, we keep going to other alternative health and wellness practitioners? Well, that's the matrix. That's the very alternative health and wellness matrix that disconnects us from our lived experience and our truth that this isn't working. And we can't even connect to that. Instead, we go in deeper. We go in deeper. So I want you to know that that's the red pill. The red pill is understanding that nothing we've ever done for a chronic illness or disease in the realm of alternative health and wellness, nothing we've done has ever worked. And it's to wake up to that. Because remember, it will not work. It does not work. And it is a scam. And so to pull back in the Rosetto study, I know a lot of people, I know myself included, were trying to do diets and food for their health. So if you're out there and you are on keto, or you are doing intermittent fasting, or you've done paleo, or you're doing carnivore diet, what the Rosetto study is teaching us, again, remember, they were eating fried meatballs, they were eating tons of gluten, bread, pasta, salami, cheese. It's not the foods. Those diets will never create your health. It's like a waste of time. I spent so many years doing these crazy diets. It doesn't work. I got sicker. You need to have the red pill to realize what you're doing doesn't work. And so it takes us to what actually is the key to longevity. What can we extrapolate from this Rosetto study? It is emotional safety, period. Emotional safety. That's what it is. That is the key to not only our health, unlocking our health, but also unlocking the healing from within our body. And I know this because this has been my lived experience. I stopped doing alternative health and wellness because I had the paradigm shift. I had the awakening that I'm speaking of today. I realized what I was doing wasn't working. I realized that there was a me in all of my conditions. And what I did and what we do is we create emotional safety, but we can create it within. What the researchers of the Rosetto study did not understand is that while, yes, a close-knit community, and it's called actually now the Rosetto effect, is when a close-knit community has almost an immunity to heart disease and other kinds of chronic conditions, and they live long. They didn't realize that, the downfall is that we don't have control over the community, and the community, even if we find it at some point in our lives, will eventually break down. Now, we can create the community. This is really important. You can create the community within you. We can create emotional safety. We can create that close-knit community from within. And from this perspective, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what you eat. It doesn't matter what kind of water you drink, or what part of the globe you're on, right? The blue zones, all that, it does not matter. You create the emotional safety within, and you live from that Rosetto. You create the Rosetto within you, and you can be wherever you are and take that with you for the rest of your life. And from that perspective, you have control over your health and well-being. And just like me, if you have a chronic illness or autoimmune disease, you unlock with emotional safety your body's natural, inherent, and sovereign ability to heal and self-repair itself. And you might be asking, what does that look like? What does emotional safety look like? Now, emotional safety is exactly what we've learned from the Rosetto study, that 50-year study, but it's within you. It's knowing that we always have our own back. It's knowing that if we need anything, we are right there to pick us up, just like those residents were for each other. That we know that we actually are our own foundation and our own backbone. That we know that no matter what we go through in life, or no matter what speed bumps, or no matter what phase of life that we're in, that we will always be taken care of, and we always have someone, which is us, instead of the community, right, who will care for us and who is there for us, and that we feel needed and wanted, and we have a place, and we feel connected within ourselves. Again, all that tight-knit community of Rosetto provided its residents in that beautiful little bubble of a time period, we can create within ourselves and cultivate it and live with it for the rest of our life. And in that, again, having nothing to do with your foods, with your supplements, with yoga, with meditation, with cleansing, with toxins, just within you, creating that emotional safety within. That is exactly how your body heals and self-repairs and maintains its health and longevity, and it's all within us, and our health is all something we are in control of. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you have a chronic illness or autoimmune disease, I want you to sign up for my free 101 autoimmune and chronic illness course. Now, the link is in the description below. In this course, I'm going to teach you what your doctors are not telling you, what alternative health and wellness doesn't want you to know, which is why you actually developed your autoimmune disease or chronic illness, why what you've been doing hasn't worked, why doctors in alternative medicine don't even understand these conditions. And most importantly, I'm going to share with you how to actually heal. It is what I've done. It's what resolved permanently all of my autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses. And it's why I'm over 8 years completely healthy. And if you're interested in actually healing, if you're ready to take that step, I want you to know that I have two 13-week online courses. There's the autoimmune healing program and there's the chronic illness healing program as well. These programs take a person step by step through the journey of completely healing permanently their chronic illness or autoimmune disease. These programs are highly successful. It's exactly what I have done and do currently in my life, which not only resolve my health, but maintains my health. And it is here for you. And if you're curious if you would be a good fit for one of these programs, I want you to sign up for a complimentary consultation with me. I would love to meet you, learn more about your experience, provide you hope and a pathway out. And again, see if what you are experiencing and you would be a good fit for either of my online programs. All right. Thank you so much and take care.